right? He's gonna be down in turtle. Generally, when someone's in turtle, you just wanna make these connections happen, right? There's a bunch of ways to break someone down, but what we're going over that day, what we're gonna be going over is just, they're all based around breaking my partner's hips to the mat, right? And that's literally gonna be one of them. But for the first one, we're just gonna assume our partner's just sitting here like a goof, they're not doing anything. So I'm gonna reach through, we get seatbelt sometimes with my far side hand, I'll grab onto their wrist. The next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the outside foot, and I'm gonna hook onto his ankle. So it's here, I'm hooked onto his ankle. I'm gonna be kind of high up on the seatbelt. I'm not gonna be so high that I'm leaning over. I'm gonna be roughly behind his shoulders. I'm gonna drive my inside knee through his knee and his elbow into this spot. I'm gonna be tight. And as I turn out his knee, the more I turn out, the easier it's gonna be. So when I really turn out, it takes very little pressure for me to drop my shoulder down, pop through, and kick this bottom hook through. If I'm here, I'm doing all these moves, I'm getting the top hook in, he's just gonna run away. So again, I'm here, boom, boom. I go and I find the knee. I'll often like knee the butt, but I'm not really doing it to like rock him up. I'm just doing it because when my knee's on his butt, I know that my foot is gonna be able to catch onto his ankle typically. So I'm here, I'm gonna really torque his knee out, and that's what's gonna allow me to come through. A lot of times when you're repping this out, when you're here, and you're falling down, but your partner's not going with you, and you're just like pulling bottom side control, it's because you're not turning his knee out. He still has too much space. So I'm gonna turn the knee out, I'm gonna fall over his shoulder, bottom of the leg comes in, I'm gonna get the top side hook. If he's a sumo wrestler, I might have to back up and throw the hook in, or if he's a smart sumo wrestler, I might have to do this and lock up like the high ball rack. Right, so that's the first move. That's if our partner does nothing. If our partner does super nothing, like Chris Porto, and they get super duper tight like this, sometimes it's hard for me to get my hooks and do all these sort of things. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come down, grab his hip. I'm not grabbing his rib cage, his lat, his rear delt. I'm not doing all this sort of stuff. I'm grabbing 2-on-1 on his hip. I'm taking my knee out. Actually, let's switch this way a little bit. My knee's coming out, my other knee's shifting away, and I'm pulling him. And I'm making this happen. Come back up. I know Gordon Ryan, who I hear is better at jiu-jitsu than me, he just does it with one hand, but his wingspan is like 12 feet long, so I'm not gonna ignore that. But I'm coming here, boom, I see that I can't get it in, I'm trying to do the moves. One knee comes out, the top side knee, I pull him out and I come here, and if he's kind of stiff, so he comes back up. If he's a little stiff, or maybe he's 350 pounds or whatever it is, sometimes he's not gonna go over on the first one. And so when I come here, do boom, boom, boom. We might have to keep pulling on it. If you go through once and he moves his base a little bit, we're just gonna keep coming through. If we're doing this and he gets wise and he opens his knee up, we're doing this and he opens up. Once he's in an open position, we're gonna switch back to the first move, because what's calling for this second move is when he's super tight and he's a little ball and we can't get anything in. If we're trying to open his hips up and he opens up his turtle, we're gonna hook his leg, we're gonna start turning it out, and we're gonna get our seatbelt, and we're gonna start tackling move one. And then for the last move, if he's smart and he tries to run away from us, he tries to flop down to the far side hip, or he starts turning into all these things, we're gonna try and stay tight. You see, he's pulling guard. That's not the end of the world, but it sucks. We wanna take him back. So instead, as soon as I can tell that he's gonna sit to his backside hip, I'm gonna take my top side leg, the leg that I'm normally using to drive into this spot, and I'm gonna use it as a wedge. I'm gonna put it essentially behind my shin on his calf. And so when he still flops over, it makes it very easy for me to surf over. Right, like when you're doing this, you'll find that sometimes it's not as simple as surfing over. Sometimes you're like running behind him, that sort of stuff. But if you wanna be lazy, like I like to be, when I might be here, he might be sagging a little bit, wedge, he keeps going, and I come around. So sometimes he'll pull all the way bottom side control, whatever. That's up to him. And then one more time. Boom, let's do it from this angle. I see he's gonna sag. I take my top side leg, and it's just here. It's just shin on calf. I still have the seatbelt. He flops all the way over. Boom. That's it. Boom. Thank you, sir.